Picture this. A beloved filmmaker has just unleashed the Frankenstein adaptation he's dreamed of since childhood, only to reveal that 4 of his earlier masterpieces are essentially hidden chapters of the same timeless tale. It's a revelation that flips our understanding of his work on its head. And trust me, you'll want to dive deeper into why. Guillermo del Toro's latest gem, Frankenstein, is now streaming on Netflix, fulfilling a lifelong passion that's echoed through his entire career. Drawing inspiration from Mary Shelley's classic novel and the iconic 1931 film directed by James Whale, Del Toro infuses his storytelling with themes of misunderstood creatures and fraught father-son dynamics, the very essence of any Frankenstein story. In a candid chat on the IndieWire Filmmakers Toolkit podcast, he pinpointed 4 of his own films that resonate deeply with these ideas: Cronos, Mimic, Blade 2, and Hellboy. But here's where it gets controversial. Does labeling them as Frankenstein stories diminish their originality? Or does it highlight a brilliant thread of creativity? Let's explore each one, breaking down the connections in a way that's easy to follow, even if you're new to Del Toro's world. Starting with Cronos, his debut feature film, we meet Jesus Gris, an elderly Mexican man played by Federico Lupi, who becomes a vampire, not through the usual bite, but via a mysterious clockwork gadget invented by an alchemist obsessed with immortality. Sound familiar? It's a lot like Dr. Frankenstein's quest. Del Toro draws a direct line to the creature with Jesus's ghostly pallor, reminiscent of Boris Karloff's portrayal, and even a distinctive scar on his forehead that screams Frankenstein. In Del Toro's new Frankenstein film, starring Jacob Elordi as the creature and Oscar Isaac as Victor, he explores the agony of eternal life further. The creature can't die, trapping him in endless rejection and suffering. There's a heart-wrenching moment where he grabs dynamite from his creator, begging Victor to ignite it in a desperate bid for release, only for his body to regenerate after the blast. This mirrors Cronos, where eternal existence is a curse, and sunlight, typically deadly to vampires, symbolizes hope and vitality. Del Toro tweaks Shelley's novel by letting the creature embrace his identity, standing triumphantly in a golden sunrise at the end. A beautiful twist that celebrates self-acceptance. Now, shifting gears to Mimic, Del Toro's second film and his first in English, we see the dark side of scientific hubris, much like Frankenstein's tale. Scientist Dr. Susan Tyler, portrayed by Mira Sorvino, engineers a new breed of insects called the Judas to combat disease-carrying roaches. But, as often happens in stories of unchecked ambition, her creation evolves beyond control, growing huge and lurking in New York sewers, poised to overtake the city. This echoes the monster's rampage in Shelley's book. Yet, production was a nightmare. Del Toro clashed fiercely with Miramat's bosses, the infamous Weinstein brothers, Harvey and Bob, who later faced serious legal troubles. In fact, he once likened the ordeal to his father's 1997 kidnapping, quipping that at least the kidnappers had clear motives. As a result, Mimic isn't the vision Del Toro intended. Later, he released a director's cut in 2011 to reclaim it. The film portrays the bugs as pure horror, not majestic beings, which raises an interesting debate. Are some monsters meant to be feared and destroyed, or should we always empathize with them? Del Toro's take leans toward the latter in his other works, but here it's a stark contrast. And this is the part most people miss when praising his monster-loving heart. Blade 2, his next project, offered a smoother ride with the studio. It follows the vampire hunter Blade, played by Wesley Snipes, teaming up with his enemies to track down Jared Nomak, a virus-infected vampire gone rogue. The plot twists reveal Nomak as the son of vampire leader Eli Damaskinos, who experimented on him to strip away typical vampire vulnerabilities, painting Damaskinos as the true Frankenstein figure, with Nomak as his tormented progeny. Just like in Del Toro's Frankenstein, the real monster isn't the son, but the father who created him. This father-son tension is a core Frankenstein element, and Del Toro amplifies it here, making us question, does a parent's obsession justify the suffering they inflict? It's a provocative angle that could spark endless discussions on ethics in science and family. Finally, there's Hellboy, Del Toro's adaptation of Mike Mignola's comic series. Hellboy, summoned by Nazis in 1944 and raised by Professor Trevor Broom Brutenholm, fights to prevent apocalyptic doom while wrestling with his outsider status. Ron Perlman nails the role, and Del Toro adds layers of loneliness and emotion, transforming Hellboy into an outcast akin to Frankenstein's creature. Unlike the comics, where Hellboy's feelings of alienation are fleeting, this film dives deep, showing him hiding in shadows during his father's funeral and grappling with their bond. Broom, played by John Hurt, dies early in the comics but lingers emotionally here. Del Toro even influences the source material. In a later comic arc, Hellboy recalls Broom's words assuring him he's no monster. Mignola admires Frankenstein too, but for Del Toro, Hellboy's monstrous nature is something to embrace, as seen in films like The Shape of Water, where women choose the beast over mere men. This difference begs the question, is celebrating the monster a progressive step, or does it romanticize danger? And this is where it gets really controversial. Some fans argue Del Toro's version overshadows Mignola's gritty origins, sparking debates in comic circles. So there you have it, Del Toro's body of work as a grand Frankenstein symphony. His new film is streaming on Netflix, inviting us all to rethink his legacy. What do you think? Do these connections enhance his films, or do they pigeonhole them? Is Del Toro right to portray monsters as sympathetic? Or should some just be vanquished? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear agreements, disagreements, or fresh interpretations.